People started disappearing in Abuja, but no one suspected the doctor. After all, who suspects a man who saves lives for a living? His name was Dr. Okochukwu, tall, quiet, always smiling. He owned Hope View Specialist Hospital in Gwarimpa, one of those private hospitals with shining floors, soft lights, and calm music that made people feel safe. Everyone loved him. Mothers prayed for him, pastors blessed him, and patients said his hands were touched by God. But behind that gentle smile lived something far darker than anyone could imagine. It started with one patient, an old woman who came in for a simple operation. She never woke up. The doctor told her family she reacted to anesthesia. They cried, and he cried with them. That night, when the lights went off and the hospital was quiet, he came back, covered her with a white sheet, and opened her body again. He removed her organs carefully, sealed her up neatly, and locked everything away in a secret freezer behind his office wall. By morning, no one could tell what he had done. Days turned into weeks. Another patient died, a man treated for malaria. Then a pregnant woman. Then a student. Each death came with a calm explanation and a quiet apology. "We did all we could," he would say softly. No one questioned anything. Death happens in hospitals every day. What nobody knew was that Dr. Okochukwu was part of a secret organ trafficking network that stretched beyond Nigeria. They called him Supplier 04. For every heart, kidney, and liver, he received bundles of foreign currency. He had once been a struggling doctor, barely paying rent in Kubwa, but now he owned a mansion in Metoma and drove a Lexus that gleamed under Abuja's sun. When people asked about his sudden wealth, he smiled and said, "God has been good." At night he became a different man. He would walk through the quiet hospital, check that everyone was asleep, and then perform his real work. He opened bodies with the same precision he used to save them. He stitched the wounds perfectly so that no one would ever know. By day, he preached compassion. By night, he was a butcher. For 3 years, no one suspected a thing. He sponsored church crusades, donated to orphanages, even built a small clinic in a rural village. Abuja called him a hero. But evil cannot hide forever. One evening, a young man named Sunday was rushed to the hospital after a minor bike accident. He had only bruises and a swollen leg. He laughed with the nurses, promising to go home the next day. But when the doctor saw his lab results, his eyes lingered on the numbers. Sunday's blood type was rare, his organs perfectly healthy. Exactly what a waiting buyer overseas had requested. That night, the doctor told the nurses to go home early. "I'll monitor him myself," he said. Around midnight, Sunday began to wake up. His head felt heavy. His chest ached. The room was dim. Then he saw him, Dr. Okochukwu, standing over him, face half covered with a surgical mask, gloves red, holding a scalpel. Sunday tried to move, but his hands were strapped down. His heart raced. "Doctor," he whispered weakly. The doctor looked startled, then frowned. "You shouldn't be awake," he said quietly. He picked up a syringe and pressed it into Sunday's neck. Sunday's vision blurred. His breathing slowed. The last thing he saw was the doctor's eyes, cold and empty. By morning, Sunday was declared dead. The doctor wrote on the report, "Cardiac arrest due to internal complications." But that morning would not end like the others. A cleaner named Amaka arrived early to mop the corridor. She noticed blood dripping from under one of the ward doors. Thinking a drip had burst, she opened the door and froze. Sunday's body lay open on the table. The doctor stood beside him, calmly placing organs into a silver cooler. Amaka screamed. Her voice echoed through the hospital halls. The doctor turned, his face pale, and lunged at her with the scalpel. She dodged and ran, shouting, "He's killing people. Dr. Okochukwu is killing patients." Nurses rushed out. Patients peeked through curtains. Security guards came running. Someone recorded everything on a phone. The doctor tried to escape through the back gate, but the guards locked it before he could reach it. People surrounded him, shouting and trembling with rage. The police arrived and arrested him. By sunrise, The videos had already spread across social media. Doctor caught harvesting organs in Abuja. The news went viral within hours. When investigators searched his office, they found 5 silver coolers, each neatly labeled with foreign names. Inside were human organs preserved carefully. In a drawer, they found his black notebook listing patient names and the prices of their body parts. It was all there, the evidence of his quiet horror. He was taken away in handcuffs, but his face remained calm. As they pushed him into the police van, he smiled faintly and said, "You think I'm the only one? There are many of us. You can't stop it." His words sent a chill through everyone who heard them. That night, a crowd gathered outside the small police station where he was being held. People were furious, families of victims, neighbors, strangers. They shouted for justice, their anger burning hotter than reason. The police tried to control them, but the crowd broke the gate, stormed in, and dragged him out. He screamed for mercy, saying he could explain, but no one listened. They beat him with sticks, belts, and bottles. They dragged him through the same streets he once drove in his expensive car. People cursed him, others spat on him. Some cried as they hit him, remembering the faces of their loved ones who had died in his care. They tied him to a pole in front of his hospital. Someone wanted to set him on fire, but another voice said no. "Let him feel pain," the man shouted. "Let him die slowly." They used knives and broken glass, cutting him again and again. His white coat turned red and brown, soaked in his own blood. By the time the police came back with backup, it was too late. Dr. Okochukwu was gone. His lifeless body hung at the gate of his own hospital, and beside him lay one of his coolers, empty, its lid open, gleaming under the streetlight. The next morning, Abuja woke up to chaos. The internet was flooded with pictures and videos. Some people said he deserved it. Others said jungle justice was wrong. But everyone agreed on one thing: the truth was out. The angel in white was a monster all along. For days, people came to the sealed hospital gate to light candles and pray. Families cried, holding pictures of their lost ones. Flowers and notes covered the fence. The air smelled of wax, sorrow, and anger. One evening, a woman in black placed a candle on the ground and whispered, "He took my husband's heart. Now the earth has taken his." But even then, it didn't end. A week later, in another quiet clinic across town, a man in a white coat sat alone in his office. He scrolled through his phone, deleted a contact saved as Supplier 04, and whispered, "We must be more careful next time." And so life in Abuja went on. Cars filled the roads, lights glowed, people smiled. But somewhere behind those shining walls, someone else was still watching, still waiting, still wearing a white coat and a gentle smile. Because sometimes, evil doesn't hide in the dark. Sometimes, it stands right beside you and calls itself doctor.